Blades Ramble are proudly supported by our main channel sponsor, My Business Group, a group of brands designed to support owners, leaders and managers in business. We would not be where we are without the incredible support of John and the team. If you're looking to grow your business, contact mybusinessgroup.co.uk today for more information or follow the link in the description below.
Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble as I just discreetly check that their microphone is on. Yes, it is. How are we all? Oh, my goodness. This is your countdown to kick off already for Norwich. But fear not, it does not mean that we are just scooting past what was a brilliant performance against Stoke. I did think about doing a 90 after 90 today just to soak it up a little bit more because we talked about it on the after party yesterday. Thank you to everybody that joined us for the after party. That is here to stay, but just to clarify, because I've seen some comments come in, that will only be after the home games on a weekend when we win. So that is an isolated, probably rare, maybe not so at the moment, and let's hope it continues for as long as possible, but it's certainly not a ongoing regular thing. There were some concerns in the comments that 90 after 90 was being replaced by the after party. That is not the case. I love 90 after 90. It is our most successful show, I will probably say. And that will, where even, to be honest, even when I can do an after party, I will still likely do a 90 after 90 when it's not a 3-game week. So what we've got at the moment is, we'd love to, in normal circumstances, it will be 3MB tonight. But then we've only got 2 games to go until 2 days to go, until Norwich. And I always like to get a countdown to kick off in and give it at least a day's grace, because in the content that we do, and I've talked about this before, as soon as the game has gone, as soon as this Norwich game has gone, nobody's ever going to watch this episode again. Whereas we can get a 3 Mardy Blades one that's current to anything that we're talking about. We can get it for the rest of the week or whatever it might be. So we switched them around and we're going to do 3MB tomorrow night. We're going to try and line it up with the FA Cup draw, but that'll depend on Dave the Nose and Man Mountain's availability, because I think it's been drawn about 20 to 7. All worst case scenario, we'll be on at 7 and we can still talk about whoever Sheffield United get in the cup. I think we're ball 33 from memory. But anyway, so 90 after 90 is here to stay. Wherever I can, I will always do one after the game. But obviously, with the quick turnaround, the fact that we did an after party instead, it were a bit of a one-off as well, because it were a Ramble Christmas do. All the Ramblers, or a load of the Ramblers were out. Those that weren't there were missed, as you know. We tried to live stream on Behind the Ramble. Made the mistake of giving the phone to Andy the Blade at some stage. There is a bit of a snippet of the live stream up on Behind the Ramble if nobody's seen it. I was told several times that some people don't even know that we've got other channels that we, under the Ramble umbrella. So we've got Ramble FC, that's a more generic channel in terms of wider football discussion. You see a lot more people than just myself on there. So there's Man Mountains on there quite regularly, Lou Dog, Batman Lou's on there, Bald and Brilliant Lee, Jordan Motson's on there. We do a show called Football Therapy. We've got a show called Top 20 Takes. We've got a show called All Aboard the Championship, all on Ramble FC. Behind the Ramble is a third channel that is all about stuff that goes on behind the channel. Stuff like my taxi work and stuff like that, as and when I get a chance to jump in the taxi. And other stuff as to what goes off behind the scenes of content creating. And also last night's Christmas do as well. Thank you to everyone that came. Thank you for everybody that Kevin said such nice things. It was lovely to meet everybody last night and see everybody. Okay, so yesterday, I am absolutely buzzing about yesterday. And this is why we need to take the time to enjoy it. And I do enjoy it. Look, we've got I don't know where to start or how to articulate it properly, because again, I don't plan these things out very well at all, to be honest. So I'm just going off the top of my head because I think that is the most authentic way to do it. But I've heard some stick online for Tyrese Campbell, and I understand some of the frustrations with Tyrese Campbell. I didn't think it were his best game yesterday, but that is the extent to which I will be criticising anything that any of the players did, because the wider context is we have won 4 games in a row, quite convincingly as well. Yes, we got a bit of a scare against Leicester in the second half, but we've been very convincing in each performance. We've scored 13 goals in 4 games after being impotent as a side. We could not hit a barn door. I think we had 3 shots on target in 5 games or something like that under Ruben Sayers. Chris Wilder has completely turned this team around. Even the most negative of Blades would rather just, I'm not expecting David Webster to be in the chat praising Chris Wilder, but you have to acknowledge the incredible job that he's done. You might be frustrated with or some Blades may be frustrated with what Tyrese Campbell did or didn't offer yesterday, but he's been part of a team that has won 4-0 against a team that were 4th placed in the division, by the way. I know they've hit a slight bump in the road in terms of form, but by all accounts, when we talked about this on the countdown to kick off before Stoke, that the performances have been okay. They've not, Stoke have maintained decent performances and just not got the results. Well, yesterday, we bossed it. Absolutely bossed it. And it was said by a couple of Ramblers, actually, that it was probably the most complete performance of the season. They didn't get a sniff. They did not get near us. And I just don't think there's any need to criticise any of our... Look, everybody's entitled to their opinion. This is what we're all about, having a platform for people to give their opinions. But my opinion on this side of things is, why are we even nitpicking? Why aren't we just sitting back, smiling and enjoying? Because it's not going to be like this all season. So while we're in this little bit of a purple patch, I want to enjoy it. And we're hopefully going to continue that against Norwich, because yes, they are 23rd in the league, and we'll come on to these because I'm not quite finished on Stoke, but you cannot look past anybody in this division. We know this. We've been caught out before doing stuff like this. So all focus is going to go to Norwich, and we will give them the appropriate respect and time tonight when we talk about it. But there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about, and Tyrese Campbell was one. We've got a Marked by Meldrew coming out. It's just being held by YouTube at the minute while they clear the Matilda Shakes copyright, which happens nearly every video, but it's just a formality of what you get with using licensed music. We have full permission. We've got an agreement with the band, as you know, but there's just a quick delay on YouTube acknowledging that they know we've got permission to use it. And Mark does his ratings out of 10, so when you get a chance to catch that, give it a watch, because I think that's going to be a quite popular little short that we're doing on the channel. So Marked by Meldrew is something to keep your eye open for. One player that I'd be interested to hear how other people graded his performance, somebody who has been out in the cold and it's just been assumed that he will leave the club in January because of how little he's been used under Chris Wilder. Tyler Bindon came in yesterday. Well, first of all, Mark McGuinness replaced Ben Mee, and I've not been very vocal about it because I don't think there's any upside to openly critiquing our own players. Sometimes I'll do it because it's frustration and I'm honest and I want to be honest, and I will tell you when I'm frustrated with things, and I don't want to be, and I don't want to be negative about our players, but at the moment there's absolutely no need to be. So what I will say is Ben Mee is temporarily out with a hand op. That I think he break a finger or something like that. Anyway, he's been playing with it's strapped up, hasn't he, for a couple of games. He's obviously had that taken care of, or had whatever necessary procedure that he's needed since. Mark McGuinness came in, who I have been lukewarm to, and I thought he did really well. He obviously got us off to a great start, scoring a good header from a corner. Thought, he had a couple more chances as well. but did absolutely everything we needed him to do. And then, unfortunately, he went down injured just before end at first half, and at half time he was replaced by Tyler Bindon. Tyler Bindon, who is technically and probably our fourth choice centre defender. Obviously, Tanganga and me are the starting two. McGuinness is the replacement that's standing in for me, and Bindon's behind them. I think it's been assumed by everybody, me included, and whenever I've been talking to anybody about Sheffield United's current situation and what's happening in January, then Louis Barry's going back. I think it's nailed on that Ben Godfrey goes back. I don't think we can terminate Ogbeni or Samari's loan. I'm not saying we'd necessarily want to terminate Samari's loan, but I don't think we can in terms of the agreements, but I don't know for a fact. And I just assumed that Bindon would be going back as well. But a little bit like Tom Cannon has done in recent times, and that is probably the most obvious example to use. Yesterday, he came on for 45 minutes and played really well. And yes, we were up, but sometimes I think that there were going to be more pressure on him that half anyway because we were up. So it were a little bit like Leicester when they had nothing to lose and they throw things forward. Stoke had, I think, 2/3 of the possession yesterday. So we had stuff to deal with, but they didn't quite lay a glove on us because not only were Tanganga impenetrable, so was Tyler Bindon. Won everything at the back. I thought he played really well when he came on. And had it been a game of one half, he'd have been in contention for the man of the match. For me, the man of the match was Femi Siriki. I think he actually won the award, but great goal for Femi. He got the assist for the Ramble's own Patrick Bamford. That's it. That's the last time I use it on this stream, I promise. I'll try and use it once a stream because I annoyed myself doing it last time. But and by the way, to see our logo come up on the screen when he scored is absolutely incredible. So absolutely buzzing with Bamford and with the decision to sponsor him. But anyway, so Siriki were my man of the match. But something that we've talked about for a little while now is the relationship between Siriki, Brooks and Peck. They've come through our youth team together, and you can see now that they're playing with confidence how well they can play together. And I think that little triangle on the right-hand side, and it's been mentioned a lot in our Platinum chat, is something that you cannot overlook the importance of. So, and I again, Brooks is another one that I have been hot and cold with at times because he has been inconsistent. We've openly questioned Femi's defensive capabilities, but I think they both made a fool of me and others in terms of, and I'm more than happy with it, to be honest. In recent times, that was best I've seen Andre Brooks play in a Sheffield United shirt. But I thought Femi Siriki were just that one step ahead as well. I think it was one of Femi's, if not his best performance in a Sheffield United shirt as well. I thought Sidney Peck played really well. Him and Gyro together in the middle, great balance, allows City to get that bit further forward. But it just strengthens the point that, look, if you lined them up and you had Gus Hamer, Callum O'Hare and Andre Brooks all in a line, and you said, I want you to pick two of these boys to start in our team, and one has to sit out on bench. Andre Brooks sits on the bench every time, doesn't it? If you make a cold, hard decision like that just on ability. But it just shows you how important the team is over the individual quality. So I fully expect Andre Brooks to start the next game. Callum O'Hare sat out on the bench this time. There was sort of murmurings that he had a bit of a tight hamstring or something like that. So it was more of a precaution that he didn't start the game. But it's a 3-game week again, so we're rotating the squad and we use it. You know, Callum O'Hare started the last game, Gus came on. This time, Gus started the game, Callum O'Hare came on. I think the form of Andre Brooks and Siriki supporting him behind, Sidney Peck playing that lovely little cushioned role inside where he can interact with them frequently. That's going to keep Andre Brooks in the side, and it should. It should, because we're getting a lot of success down that side. There's still pressure on him and Siriki, and there's pressure on everybody in the team to perform, and that's the way we want it. But as with Sam McCallum, keeping Brooks out of the side, keeping Burrows out of the side, sorry, you have to allow the lads who are performing in the shirt to keep the shirt. So I'm fully expecting Andre Brooks to start the next game, and I'll come on to my team when we get there. But the team is greater than the individual, and I think that cannot be overlooked. Another, just a little side point that I loved as well, was that Ollie Arblaster were back on the bench, and I was sort of pining for him to get 5 minutes at the end when we knew that things were a little bit calmer. But Wilder's not the sentimental type, is he? He's all business. I know he cares for the club and he cares for Blaster, but he'll do what's right for the club first and foremost, won't he? He'll do what's right rather than the sentimental call. So, and I don't mind that either. So, let me know what you thought of the game. I was really impressed with Sheffield United, and it gives me a lot of optimism for the season. I think we're 8 points away from the playoffs now. And now, because of this brilliant run of form that we're on, you can allow yourself to believe a little bit, can't you? And I think we should. I think we should now be looking up. We've been doing it anyway, but not all of us have been talking about it because you don't want to jinx it. And a bad result here against Norwich unravels a lot of the good work you're doing anyway. So, but I fully expect us to go in on Tuesday night and not necessarily steamroller them, because as I say, we respect every opposition in the league. But I expect us to have too much for Norwich. I really do. And I can't see how they're going to, come over the top of us. I can't see the way that we're playing at the moment. Nobody in the league will want to play us. So, West Brom are out of form as well. We go to West Brom on Friday night. We'll be doing a watch-along live on the channel for that. I'm trying to see if Man Mountain's available to do a watch-along for Norwich this game, for those that can't attend. So you can join Man Mountain on the watch-along if he's free. As I say, I'm just waiting to speak to him about it. Anyway, so let's get into some of your comments before I jump into the actual pre-Norwich stuff. I know I've got Harry Darling on the thumbnail here. But I've just been informed by Ian in the chat, thank you Ian, that he picked up his 5th yellow yesterday. So he's now suspended for the game. So Harry Darling won't be playing. But Josh Sargent will, more than likely. Blade375 says, what a performance Saturday, outstanding. Can't believe the improvements. Fair play to Bindon. I was moaning when he came on, but it looked solid and comfortable. Where can this run take us up the Ramble? Wembley, hopefully. Hope everyone had a great time at the Christmas party. Bring on Norwich. Massive chance to distance further from the bottom 3. It's a long way to go to talk about it. You're asking about how far could we go. It's a long way to go. But if we get anywhere near, can you imagine if we finish in the top 6 at the end of the season? Is that Chris Wilder's greatest achievement in management? From where we started. It's an absolutely incredible turnaround. Ron says, agree that Bindon did a good job when he came on. Personally, would keep him in January as the 4th backup centre-half. Also, Cooper looks more comfortable today. Bamford is also showing his class up the Ramble, up the Blades. Thank you, mate. Stoke arrived at Bramall Lane 3rd I think they were 4th. And we destroyed them. The team that are bubbling with confidence. Also, big up the crowd. What a back-in, loud and proud, up the Ramble, like and subscribe, up the Blades. Yeah, it were much better, the crowd, much better. Nice to hear the cop singing loud and proud as well. It were a better atmosphere, and the early goals always help, and obviously the current run of form really helps, but everything seems to be steering in a better direction, and we can't rest on our laurels. You notice that Wilder in his post-match and everything like that is still very businesslike. He's like head down, focus, crack on. And I think that's how we have to be. We have to enjoy it, but understand that it's always precarious. It's always quite precarious in terms of nothing's a done deal. Nothing is a done deal. We have to continue this run of form if we're going to continue to climb. Carl says, a superb first half performance by the Blades gave Stoke no respite whatsoever. BH says, brilliant performance yesterday. I can't read with this. Brilliant performance yesterday. McGuinness was great. Even Bindon looked decent when he came on. Wilder obviously got them both playing the United way now. Another 3 points Tuesday, please. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Pisto Brett. Great to see you, pal. Great to see you still walking and talking after yesterday's performance. Brett did some incredible. Sank some alcohol, that man, yesterday. Some great performances lately, but this will be a different test. I still see us utilising the press and creating enough to win the game. 3-1 seems a realistic score prediction. Up all the positive ones, up the Blades. Let's see, that's a bit more reserved than you went for against Stoke, who are much better performing currently than Norwich. So that's interesting. Brett actually went with 4-0 against Stoke, which I thought was ridiculous at the time. And I'm so glad he was right and I was wrong. Matt says, wow, Jimmy, I'm still feeling it from last night. Great night, and thanks for making me welcome, pal. I can see us winning Norwich 3-0. Let's keep it going. The squad have got their mojo back. Thank you, Matt. Top 6 here we come, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Thank you, Matt, and it was great to see you, meet you finally after supporting us for such a long time. I want everybody to feel welcome here and a part of it, because everybody, whether you're a Platinum Rambler, a Rambler, a commenter, a subscriber, I want you to feel like you've got somewhere you can come and chat to your mates about football, because that's what it is. So, yeah, you're all part of it. Jack says, these are starting to score and play a bit better, but it doesn't matter because we'll blow them away. Oh, Jack. Now we have Bamford. It's showing how much we've missed that physical presence up top. Also, I love how we keep someone on the edge of the box during corners. Yeah, you mean attacking corners. I'd like us to see an outlet on defensive corners as well, because I think otherwise, even if you win the ball, then you're going to lose the second if you're trying to clear it. But yes, I love it. I love the high press and the bodies forward, even when we're 3-0 up. And I love that we're playing their third where we can. It's brilliant to see, rather than just sit off and try and react. We are being proactive. Yeah, I love it. And Bamford, I cannot tell you how impressed I am with Patrick Bamford since he's come in. Just the way he's played. I think he's got a bit of a presence about him on the field. A little bit like Gyro has in the middle. He's got a bit of a presence about him where it rubs off on other players, I think. And it lifts not only their performance, but their confidence levels, because he's a quality operator at the level. So yeah, I'm really impressed with it. And I am desperate. I think the most important job in January is keeping this squad as it is. If you could guarantee me Bamford and Gyro stay and chuck in a cheeky Gusema contract extension, then I will happily say don't add anybody else to the squad. I think we need additions. But if that was the bargaining chip, then I'm taking it. John says, so good seeing Gus back at the weekend. Operation December is in full swing. Want to see us in the top half when we kick off at Wrexham on Boxing Day, chasing them playoffs down, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Top man. Thank you, John. Ian says, evening, Jimmy. Fancy another win with goals galore again. Harry Darling picked up his 5th yellow. Thank you, mate. I saw that. We'll go one better with a 5-0 Bamford on the score sheet again. Bamford is a Rambler. Didn't you know that? Lou says, expecting changes again, as it seems to be CW's way, and why not with the options we now have? I think he'll rotate Burrows, O'Hare and Cannon back in. McGuinness seemed like a precaution. So, Lewis is going 4-4-2. Cooper, Sariki, Tanganga, McGuinness and Burrows. So that's your back four. O'Hare on the right. Peck, Riedewald and Hamer. Bamford and Cannon is what I expect. Interesting. Very interesting. 4-4-2, of course. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you, my mate. Charlie says, hi, Jimmy. The last time we won 4-0 at the Lane was back on the 16th of February 2019 against Reading. Took some time, but wow, that was really worth the wait. Dominated in all aspects of the game, defending to attacking. We did, Charlie. I agree completely. It was a brilliant performance, weren't it? Absolutely brilliant. Dave Morwood. Evening, Jimmy. Good evening, pal. Hope you're good. Great afternoon party and Christmas do. Really felt like I was there. Thanks to everybody who said hi. 3 more points. Not pints, please. Up all the Rambles, up the Blades, up the positive 6. Like and subscribe, please, to the award-winning Blades Ramble. Thank you, mate. Tom says, evening, Jim, pal. Brilliant to properly meet you last night. Gutted my little segment didn't upload properly. Yes, me too, mate. I don't know what happened there. Lee told me halfway through the night that only like 51 minutes of it uploaded, and we'd recorded well over an hour. So I don't know. Confident for Tuesday. I think my dad might have pressed something. Somebody said my dad pressed the button that he shouldn't have pressed. Would not surprise me. Confident for Tuesday, though. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Great to meet you, pal. Great to meet you, and thanks for coming. Brand says, evening, Jim. Harry Darling suspended for this one. Yeah, absolutely. Think we could be in for another 3 or 4-0 win here. Hopefully Blaster to get some minutes too. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. That'd be class. Absolutely class. And Ray says, evening, Jimmy. Evening all. Got to have a shout out for McGuinness and Bindon yesterday, how they've improved and looked solid. Absolutely fair. Sariki is turning into a star along with Brooks. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. I was sitting with Richard Carrington yesterday, and he, in fact, I love to shout out people who have early calls on stuff and get it right. I'm often doing it about my dad. I'm often doing it about Man Mountain, Dave the Nose, who say it on stream, but also people who comment in the Platinum chat and stuff and comment on here. Rich Carrington, one of our Platinum Ramblers, said to me 4 or 5 games ago, so before we turned a corner, I think we are playing better now than we were all of last season, and it will turn eventually and will be a really decent side this season. And since he said that to me, we are now 5 unbeaten, and we've won the last 4 at a canter, really. So shout out to Richard Carrington for that. And also, he said to me yesterday, which I think it's hard to fathom, really, in a lot of ways, because he's our own, and we certainly, some of us, see holes in his game that are so slowly starting to close. But he said Femi Sariki is fast becoming a £20 million right back. And if you think about it, what would you pay for somebody like Femi Sariki? We couldn't afford him. We couldn't afford him if we wanted to bring somebody of that quality in. I sometimes think youth players, unless they really outperform, like Ollie Arblaster did, then they sometimes don't always get a fair shake from some fans. And I've been guilty of that myself. I think Andre Brooks has probably been a victim of that from me. And maybe Femi Sariki at times in terms of his defensive duties, but it's easier to see fault in your own, I think. And these are lads that are our class. Sariki is our own. Obviously, were brought into the academy, if you like. So yeah, I think it's not. If somebody were rumoured to be coming in for Femi Sariki, we'd want at least 8 figures for him, wouldn't we? At least at the moment. Certainly the way he's playing, he's been brilliant. How many more? We've got a fair few comments, so I know where I am now because Ray has made that last comment. So we'll keep Ray's comment on just so I know where we are. Thank you, Raymondo, for getting involved as always. Right, and let's jump into a little bit of prep for the game on Tuesday. So the Blades 11 that started: Cooper, a back 4 of Tanganga. I hate when they don't do it in thingy order, but I understand it. Tanganga and McGuinness were the partnership. Sariki was right back. McCallum was left back. It was Peck and Riedeveld in the middle. It was Gus Hamer on the left, Andre Brooks on the right, and it was Bamford is a Rambler up top alongside Tyrese Campbell. And what a performance it was, obviously. But what does that mean going into a quick turnaround for Tuesday night? So this is what I think Chris Wilder will go with. I think he'll go with Michael Cooper in goal. I think he'll go Femi Sariki, Japhet Tanganga, Tyler Bindon. This is on the assumption, and I know nothing about it, but this is the assumption that Mee's still out with his hand up, because it's not a long turnaround, is it? And McGuinness is being rested as a precaution because Bindon played well enough to get in. So if McGuinness is fit, and it were just, one of those things that it were like 50-50, might as well take him off, then McGuinness will start alongside Tanganga. But if we're looking at precautions and worst case scenario, I suppose, Tyler Bindon I am more than happy with to partner Japhet Tanganga. I think it'll obviously be the other way around, which it was the other day, but a bit odd to me that, because Tyler Bindon's often played left centre-half, even though he's right-footed. Either way it is, if this is Chris Wilder's team, this is what I'm happy with, which probably gives you a bit of a spoiler for my team that I'm going with. Sam McCallum, I think, retains his spot at left-back. Would not be surprised at all to see Harrison Burrows come in. I think that competition is getting tighter, but not because McCallum's form is dropping, because Burrows is picking up, which is exactly what we need. So, love that. Gyro came off again, which makes me confident that he will Be good to start on Tuesday. Sidney Peck, the absolute machine, did another 90 minutes, but will start. I'm absolutely sure of it. I'm not sure on the numbers, but other than Cooper, has he played more minutes than anybody this season? He must have done. He must have done. And as we were saying before, Andre Brooks remains on the right, even though better players, Callum O'Hare and Gus Hamer, are now available. The team is greater than the individual, and his current form and working relationship with Sariki and Peck works, and it has been working for us. You keep that three as they are if they're all fit and ready to go. I think Callum O'Hare this time comes in for Gus Hamer. If he has got a slight tweak, Cal O'Hare, then Gus Hamer comes in. But I think it's between those two to start. And, we're trying to manage Gus's minutes a little bit as well. So maybe Gus can't do that quicker turnaround because he's obviously been out injured for a little while. I think the fact that I think Patrick Bamford starts if he's fit. He looked like he were carrying a little bit of a knock as he came off. But he didn't play the full 90. So I'm fully expecting a very impressive Patrick Bamford to start. I'm also expecting Tom Cannon to start, who came onto the field, obviously. And the only reason I'm doing this is not because of Campbell's form or anything like that, because as I say, I think this is a time that we should be getting behind them all. But I think with Campbell playing 90 minutes, his fitness has obviously been something in question. So I think that's something that plays into it. And I think the fact that Tyrese played a full 90 was blowing. I think Tom Cannon comes in and starts this game because we've got that option of rotating the squad, haven't we? So my team, that's Chris Wilder's predicted lineup. My team to face Norwich is exactly the same. Because as we've said previously, and as I'm sticking to, if that's what the team I think Chris Wilder wants to go with, who are we to say any different? Because he's the gaffer. He's steered us to 4 consecutive really strong wins, and we get behind it. So I don't question anything he does. Times this season I've come in and said, why aren't we playing 3 at the back? Why aren't we, we need to go 2 up top, which we now have. Some things I think fit, some things I think don't. Whatever I think, it's working. And Chris Wilder's making it work, so we stick with him. As for our opponents, this is how they set up last time when they went to Watford and they lost 3-2. So they've got Kovacic in goal. They play, actually, looking at their information here, they play a 4-2-3-1. They're 23rd in the league at the minute. They lost the last time out to Watford, but they'd won the time before that. The manager is Philippe Clement, who is new to the side. And Josh Sargent, as we all know, is a big threat for them. So the starting lineup, as they were last time, they played Kovacevic in goal. Let's see if we can get the team back up. Kovacevic was in goal. It was Fisher at right back. McConville and Darling were the centre-back pairing. Obviously, Darling is going to be out. Just look at that bench and see if I can recognise who might... No, I don't know who the centre-half that'll come in for him is. Springett was the left-back. Kenny McLean, the captain, was in the middle with Matson. Then they play similar to how we've been playing earlier in the season, a 4-2-3-1, as we say. So they have Marcondes in the 10. They've got Schwartau as their left-sided forward and Amankwa Forson as their right-sided forward. And obviously, the big Ginge, I don't know if he's very angry, but big Ginge, Josh Sargent up front, who also got back on the score sheet, who is, no matter how poorly Norwich might be playing at the moment, no matter what position they are in the league, Josh Sargent gets in any side in this league. When you've got a number 9 like him, you can never switch off. I'm not saying Japhet Tanganga or whoever partners Japhet Tanganga can't deal with Sargent. I hope they can, and I think they can. But you can't ever take anything for granted. So that is what Norwich are all about at the minute. That is what we're coming up against. Where are they in the league, if I can find that? 23rd, as we said. But this is the difference between the teams. We've both played 19. United have won 7 now. It's looking a lot better than it did 4 games ago when that were a 3. We've drawn 1, lost 11. You cannot get away from the fact of how poorly we started this season, which again makes Chris Wilder's job even more impressive. 19 points on the board for Sheffield United now, 18th and looking up, hopefully. We'll continue to do that. Norwich 23rd, very disappointing season for them so far. Played 19, won only 3 games, drawn 4, lost 12, and it's a minus 11 goal difference for them with 13 points this season. So, I'm going to jump straight into my score prediction before I do some more comments from you guys. And I predict, I'm just going to get that off, a riot. I predict that on Tuesday night, under the lights, at beautiful downtown Bramall Lane, Sheffield United continue their good form and beat Norwich 3-0. And it's a very... I don't like to say things so confidently because there is a misconception that can be perceived as arrogant. But we've just beaten Stoke City, who were 4th in the league, 4-0. And we didn't just beat them, we dominated them. And if we can't take that momentum into Norwich, who are a struggling side this season, we are hopefully playing them at the right time also. Like teams have done to us earlier in the season, then there's something wrong. And you know, if we aren't at the races and we look past this and we're looking at Friday, we could still get caught out here. So it's full focus on Norwich, but I'm confident that we come away with 3 points and we'll be bouncing again. And there'll be a 90 after 90 to follow that because we don't do an after party midweek. So if we do win, it'll be a 90 after 90 anyway. I'm trying to confirm a watch along for the game. But as I say, when I speak to Man Mountain, I will let you know, and we'll see whether that's an absolute goer or not. So we'll wait and see. Right, on to your comments then to finish off. So Matt says, Sariki and Brooks, wow, best I've seen them play in a Blade shirt. So good. Big shout out for Bindon as well. Thought he played well when he came on. The confidence is running so high at the minute. It's on the up. I hope so, pal. Regal Smoke says, feels brilliant at the moment. I really wonder what we're going to do in January. Our squad is solid at the moment. Do we even need new players? Just sign Suter and Chowdhury and I'm happy. There's a lot of rumours floating around about that, Suter and Chowdhury. Chowdhury would be a great signing for us. Covers you at right back, or competition for Sariki at right back. And in the midfield, it's a gyro competition, isn't it? In terms of, because when Samari comes on, he's a different type of player to gyro. I don't think Samari's let us down, but he's more forward thinking, and he doesn't quite give you the same balance that gyro does in the middle with Sidi. Because when Samari came on, Sidi then dropped deep, and that's not his job, or it's not the job he's obviously been flourishing at. I would love somebody to come in for gyro and do a bit of a like for like, which I think Chowdhury is capable of doing. Action Location says, Jimmy, when we play the two up front and hard press the space, this frees up space on the flanks. I like the link up better. McCallum and Gus keep doing these. These autos are a possibility. These autos are a possibility. Wow. Okay. Up the blades, up the ramble, like and subscribe. Action Location, absolutely brilliant, pal. Heard about a Benteke rumour, a piece done on a rival channel. Think that would be the dogs of a signing. Has ripped it up in the USA. Christian Benteke. I've not heard anything about it. Don't watch rival channels. I don't. I'm not saying don't. I'm saying I don't. I don't want to skew what we do and or be misinterpreted as, you know, not being original or anything like that. So yeah, don't watch anything else like that. But Benteke, the only reason I can see us signing somebody like Benteke, don't get me wrong, you should always be interested in good players, and he would be an unbelievable signing. Unrealistic, in my opinion. Just my opinion. Cost an absolute fortune. We don't need Christian Benteke. It is my honest opinion at the moment. Not that we wouldn't be a better squad for it, but I am happy with our 4 strikers. And yes, we've talked about Tyrese Campbell, and even on this channel, we have been critical, and I think rightly so. But again, I think there's a time and a place for that, and I think when you've won 4 on the spin, you can't really be critical of anybody. But the competition within the striker ranks at the moment is what's raising the standards at the top end of the pitch. I think Patrick Bamford's been a superb signing for us. It's not just because we sponsor him. It's because I think he's raised the levels. When Danny Ings can't get on the pitch, and yes, he hasn't scored for us yet, but Danny Ings is a veteran striker at this level, and most teams will want him in their squad, in my opinion. So the competition is really good at striker for us. And I'm not saying Benteke doesn't come in and he's automatically number one. He is. Don't get me wrong. So, Andrew, I don't mean to I don't want it to be misconstrued. But unless Bamford leaves in January, because it's only a short-term deal till Jan, we don't need another striker. We don't. And we certainly don't need to be paying somebody 80 grand a week or 100 grand a week or whatever Benteke would be on. So I don't think it's realistic. I don't think it's a priority position for us. Yes, he improves us, but I don't think it happens. And I'd be shocked. I'd be absolutely shocked. Going into this game with my son, we're both really looking forward to it, says Stephen. What a turnaround in Wilder. We trust up the blades, up the ramble. Come on, you red and white wizards. Bryce says, Ian and myself don't have mod status on Behind the Ramble, Jim. Not feeling brill, mate. Been so for a few days, hence missing coming down to see you lads last night. Oh, sorry to hear that, Bri. We'll get you mod status sorted on Behind the Ramble. Thank you for everything you do on here and Ramble FC. Sorry you haven't been feeling great, pal. It would have been great to see you last night, but there'll be plenty more. Plenty more after parties, hopefully, this season as well. So hopefully we can get you down to the lane at some point. But yeah, for those that aren't aware, again, I'll say it because there's a few more people here now, but I was told several times yesterday that people don't know we've got other channels that we have, and that's Ramble Football Club, Ramble FC, talking about more football content, and Behind the Ramble. So if you're not already subscribed to those channels, please do check them out. And if you like them, subscribe to them. It's not a, there's nobody holding anything to your head or all like that. Luke says, more goals in the last 4 than the previous 15 combined. 0.3% viewer here, up the blades, up the Ramble. You'll duff on me, Luke. You'll duff on me. People getting their YouTube and Spotify wrapped and sending me those has been really nice to see. Thank you to everybody that supports us, whether you're a 0.3% viewer or a 30% viewer. It's very much appreciated. Outstanding yesterday, says Den Blades. Hail the Messiah. I certainly do. Hail. Hail. Sheila says, performance of the season so far. Hope you enjoyed the after party. Really pleased for Bindon. Any update on the McGuinness injury? No, not yet, Sheila. Not yet. Not heard anything. As soon as we do. I'd expect to hear tomorrow, which reminds me, actually. Thank you for that. There will be a hot off the presser tomorrow. It's the day before the game. I don't know whether it's a morning or an afternoon one. It does affect my day, actually, because I'm going over to film with Fallon Cowler. With Fallon Cowler. Yeah, so on the Fallon Cowler channel. So Fallon has got his own studio at his house now because he's posh and he's got loads of money. I'm not posh. This has taken years to build, but he's absolutely minted, that lad, as we all know. And so we're going to be recording Yorkshire's Finest, which will go out on his channel, most likely. And then we're going to be recording a new show for one of our channels. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to be doing yet because I'm toying with the idea of a mailbag show where people can send in questions and stuff like that. And maybe for me or Cal or both or whatever. But we'll see. We'll see. We've got to do something, I think. Ian says, just haven't got a spanner, Bri. It'll still let me delete posts and hide the user. Thank you, Ian. That's great to know. Mark Meldrew says, absolutely buzzing at the minute. What a game yesterday and what a night. Oh, what a night. Some community and an unbelievable group. Enjoy the ride and the moments when we have them. Up the Ramble, up the Blades, up the positive Meldrew, up the marked by Meldrew roll on Tuesday. I hope that gets cleared. If this marked by Meldrew doesn't get cleared by YouTube, I'll upload it without the Matilda Shakes music because it has to be a quick turnaround. Sometimes when it's a long form video, you can upload it and it don't get monetized until it's been resolved later down the line. But with shorts, it blocks the entire video, so it doesn't let anybody see it. So there's no like delayed payment or anything. It's just a blocked video. So I might have to upload it without the Matilda Shakes music, which would be a huge shame. But I've got them working on it already, so hopefully that'll get cleared soon. Alan says, with a £2 super chat, Thank you very much, pal. Jim lad, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Thank you very much, pal. Bry says, did it in? Okay. Alan says, Jim, where would the Blades be today if Sayers was still in charge? Bottom 3. Undoubtedly bottom 3. If not, at least where Norwich are. At least where Norwich are. We know we wouldn't be bottom of the league because even Sayers couldn't have got us to -10. But we'd have been nowhere near where we are now and certainly not feeling anything like we do. Brand says, I was incredibly surprised at how good Bindon looked yesterday. To say how low in confidence he was and how little he's played. He pocketed their striker and won every header and ground duel. That were another thing I wanted to mention about Sariki, actually. Sorry to take the attention off Bindon, because you're right to raise how well Bindon played, Bran. I thought he played really well in the second half, and I was delighted for him because he hasn't really had a chance, has he? His chances that came were either alongside Jack Robinson or alongside Reece Norrington-Davies, who we know is not a centre-half. So Tyler Bindon, alongside a quality centre-half in Tanganga, looked the real deal yesterday, didn't he? And hopefully that can continue if he's asked to deputise again. And maybe it just keeps him in the squad for the rest of the season. But we'll see. Femi Sariki yesterday, not only did he get a goal, not only did he assist with Bamford's goal and look threatening all day going forward and neat and tidy going backwards, Sorba Thomas, whether you rate him overall as a player or not, his numbers this season have been incredible. It's something like 7 goals and 5 assists. He has been in red-hot form, whether you believe it a purple patch or not. Did anybody notice Sorba Thomas on the pitch yesterday? Because he was anonymous. Absolutely anonymous. And that is easy to say that he had a poor game, but it would also be very fair to say Femi Sariki pocketed him. Absolutely pocketed him. Didn't get a sniff. Did not get a sniff. Femi Sariki is in the best form of his Sheffield United career. You've had a good 5 games, says Daz. Let's have another 5 in the same, then we can start talking about playoffs. Daz, let me have some fun. Let's get excited for once. Great day yesterday, says Tom. Blades dominated, then a good drink afterwards. Yes, pal. It was great to see you. Brett says, I say go for it. On recent form, there's no reason why you can't reach the playoffs, and I hope you do. What a story it would be. And it's never been little old Sheffield United. There's no... I don't want any neutrals coming on here thinking, oh yeah, what a fairy tale, because it's not. We're not Wrexham where we try and falsify a fairy tale. It's more a turnaround story of the season, isn't it? Yes, we've got quality players, we knew that, but they weren't playing anything like this season. And for Chris Wilder to come in and lift them off the floor, I genuinely think it would be his best achievement in management. Still managed to get up early to play golf this morning, and all you could have hear was on the course was do. Bamford is a rambler. Bryce says, so what were they singing on the cop, Jim? Did you find out for sure? I'm pretty sure they were saying Bamford is a not Rambler. The thing that he sung about Wilder. I'm pretty sure that will have been it. But it plants a seed in people's heads, doesn't it? So I think it's a really good thing. That song can stay, and we will keep singing it our way. And then maybe one day the crowd starts singing it the same way, because I think that's good awareness for the channel, isn't it? But we'll see. Christine says, I'm ecstatic about our team. How wonderful is it to see them playing like this? Up the mighty Blades. I love Blades Ramble. Thanks, Jim. Thank you, Christine. That's a lovely thing to say. I went for coffee this morning with Andy a very sore-headed Andy the Blade. Anybody that saw behind the Ramble, the live stream of the Christmas do, will know why Andy the Blade had the bad head. Shout out to Mr. Tequila. Layman Dave was there. I took our Emily along this morning as well. She had a bacon sarnie. And Eki Outsal were there as well. And Eki Outsal is a nervous Sheffield United. I think I'm a nervous fan, but Eki Outsal takes the cake in the family for watching from behind the sofa. She was saying today, and she's bang on, how good are we playing? How good did we play yesterday, really, was the thing that we're saying. It was just an absolute pleasure to watch, weren't it? An absolute pleasure. And how many times can we say that as Blades? Not very often. And again, that's why we have to enjoy it. That's why we have to enjoy these moments, because they don't come around often. And we'll soon be, moaning that so-and-so turned us over when we should have beat them and all this sort of thing. While we're winning, let's enjoy it and hope it lasts as long as possible. But thank you, Christine. Lovely comment. Joe says, evening, Jim Bob. It would have been very easy for Bindon to struggle yesterday. Fitted in seamlessly and easily could have gone other way with no to lose from them in the second half. Absolutely right. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Bald and brilliant. That's Ali. Says, evening, Jim. On Bindon, I would still send him back. Why are you being negative, Lee? Why are you being negative? He did very well yesterday, but why would we waste a precious loan spot on a fourth choice centre-back, bringing a player who directly affects the first 11? Lee, I'm with you. You know I'm with you on loans should be used to directly affect the first 11. Completely agree with that. Who are you bringing in? Who are you bringing in at the moment, the way the team's playing? What I would say is, you look at what we need in January. In fact, I'm very tempted to do an updated plan for Jan, because obviously things have changed significantly since we did the original. So goalkeeper, Michael Cooper. I still think he's a really strong goalkeeper at the level. If he's 100% fit, then I'm an animal. But whatever the saying is, he's not 100% fit. I know everybody can tell he's not absolutely right. And he's not played his best football this season, but it certainly looks like he's on the upturn, and we all hope that we get the Michael Cooper that we've seen previously. No doubts that Cooper's our number one. I would maybe bring in some competition for him, and if that means that if we know that he's got an injury that he needs to deal with, then maybe we bring in a very competent goalkeeper and have Cooper out for 6 or 8 weeks. That's a huge risk, but I think if that's necessary for the individual, because I don't think we would trust, and this is awful, but I don't think we would trust Adam Davies to do that job as a number one. So maybe we bring in some competition for Michael Cooper, or a stand-in for Michael Cooper, if you like. I'm all for that. Is that a loan? Possibly. Possibly, you would say, particularly if it's a short-term number one. At right back, we need competition for Femi, and I don't think Jamie Shackleton is the competition. And I don't think Sam Curtis or Polendikov, obviously, have not been seen at all, so we can't say for sure that they are anywhere near the level that we need. I think we need a right back. Centre half, we've already got 4, haven't we? We're talking about sending one back. In fact, we've got 5 with Godfrey. So we send Godfrey back and we get another loan spot. So that's 1 loan spot that we're allowed. 1. We've got 4 if you keep Bindon. So we're keeping Bindon for the time being. Left back's covered with Burrows and McCallum. Centre midfield is covered with Siddy, Gyro, Tom Davies when he's available, Arblaster coming back from injury, and Samari, who we don't think his loan can be terminated. So in the middle of the park, we're covered with 5 bodies, even if Tom Davies is one of them and Ollie Arblaster's the other one at minute. On the right, we've got Andre Brooks. On the left, we've got Callum O'Hare. We've got Gus Hamer, who can play in either of those positions. So that's 3 for 2 positions. 3 for 2 positions. And then I think we need another winger. So we can use that Godfrey loan spot on that winger. And we terminate Louis Barry. So we've got 1 more loan spot available. Ogbenny is obviously back in the mix when he's fit. I don't think we're able to terminate his loan from what I understand. We may be able to, and I hope we can if it's a consideration. I think Wilder might want to keep him anyway. So that would also be another winger. But I think we bring one in anyway if we terminate Louis Barry. Up front, we've got 4. And I think we send One out. So I think we keep the 4 that we've got at the minute who are in contention. We don't need another one up top, do we? So where do we need to use these loan spots? And we've still got 1 spare from what we've just done there. I think we need a right back cover for Sariki, and that's what. And if we talk about making a big move in January, we could sign Hamza Chowdhury, because Leicester have got financial problems. We could sign Hamza Chowdhury, and he's cover for right back, or competition, not just cover, but he's competition for right back, and he's competition for Gyro in the centre. And that, to me, leaves you a loan spot. So sometimes we choose not to use all 5 loan spots. So I disagree with you, pal, on that, because I think Bindon has shown enough to be a valuable squad player on that one performance, which isn't enough. Hopefully, if we see more of him leading into January, we'll know whether he's enough to be comfortable with the cover we have at centre-half. So that's my thoughts on it. I like the fact that he put in a strong performance yesterday, and I'd like to see him get at least another chance to prove himself before January. And if he starts on Tuesday night, there's every chance, and this is what Sam McCallum has done for the squad players. There's every chance that if Tyler Bindon has to play on Tuesday night, he becomes the new partner of Japhet Tanganga. If he has another outstanding performance, if he replicates his 45 into a 90, there's every chance people are then trying to get him out of the team because he's earned his way in and he's got the chance in the shirt and he's taking it. So it might be me and McGuinness on the outs. You don't know, do you? You don't know. You just don't know. Steve says, Peckenhamer now clear of suspension. Darling is suspended for Tuesday. Yes, Peckenhamer, for those that aren't aware, it was the cut-off for your 5 yellow cards. So there's no chance of them getting a one-game ban like Harry Darling, who fell victim to it, got his 5th yellow card this last game against Watford. Hamer and Peck are now cleared of their chance of suspension. Well, the 4 cards still count, I believe. Gaz Dunn might be able to tell me if I'm wrong on this. 4 cards still count on the record, but they have to get to 10 yellow cards now. I think it's a 2-game ban, and that'll be in a couple of months or something like that. So the immediate danger is gone for Peck and Hamer. Hopefully McGuinness' ankle is okay and we go 5 out of 5. Brooks ran himself into the ground, but we need Josh Murphy for the right-hand side on a permanent, says Stephen Snell. I didn't think Josh Murphy looked that great for Portsmouth. I know he's a good player at the level. I'm not convinced by him, if I'm honest. It's just my personal... look, and he's one of them players that because he has got quality... you will see it from time to time on a highlight reel how well he's done in certain situations, but I don't think he's done much this season, if I'm honest. I may be wrong. Joe says, special mention to CW though. Anyone that doubts him needs their heads resting or testing. How he's turned this season around in such a short space of time is nothing short of remarkable. Joe, you know I agree with this, and I'm not pushing too hard on this narrative because people know, and it's one of those that you can hug to yourself. And there's a lot of Chris Wilder fans on this channel, by the way. I know I get some stick for being too pro Wilder from a vocal minority, but a lot of Blades are massive Chris Wilder fans, and so they should be. But it doesn't do you any good to be told you. Not that you're doing that, Joe, by the way, but it doesn't help anybody, does it? But to know that he's doing, and he deserves all the credit. To know that he has done this, he has masterminded this turnaround. Absolutely incredible. Money spent on the likes of Matos and loan for Samari. Wilder goes out and gets Gyro on a free, Bamford on a free, and the top players for us already. He just gets it and gets what characters we need. Absolutely right, pal. Lee, Bald and Brilliant Lee says, a good performance yesterday by the Blades, and yes, Semi Fariki, Brooks and Peck will get the plaudits. Mr. Tequila, formerly known as Mr. Vancouver, says, we are definitely making the playoffs, and I believe we'll finish 1st or 2nd. Wow. Coventry are bound to slip up at some point. Come on, you red and white wizards, up the Blades, up all the Rambles. Up the Positive 6, like and subscribe. Mr. V, one of the founding members of the Positive Blades. So, Coventry did slip up. They lost 3-0 at Ipswich. Whether that becomes a factor, I'm not sure. I think they're 12 points clear of the automatic. Something like that. They're ridiculously far in front. They're certainly 10-11. I'm certainly not looking at Coventry to catch. I'm not even looking at 2nd. I'm looking at how close we are to the playoffs. And then when you get there, that's if we get there. But when you get there, that's when you start looking up again. And you say, oh, look how close we are to that. Den Blade says the transformation in some of our own players from pre-Wilder is nothing short of Jekyll and Hyde. That's true. Lee says, oh, sorry, this is from Brooks and Peck will get the plaudits, but I again thought Riedeveld and Tanganga were exceptional. Things are looking good. Yes, they are, mate. Yes, they are. On to Tuesday now, and although they are struggling, they can still be very dangerous. They have arguably the best number 9, apart from Do in the league, as we all agreed on football therapy last week. 3-0 Blades. Yeah, Lee, one of my co-hosts on football therapy on Ramble FC. If you've not seen it, please do go check it out. We did a show last week where we were talking about who's the best player in each championship side. So obviously it's very subjective, but I thought it were good. I really enjoyed it. Like I have all of them, to be fair, that we've done. Which keeper would you have to cover for Cooper? Now, interesting, Mark, because there's an article come out today. I think Alan Nixon, we all know he's very hot and cold. Some people will really rate him and other people will think he's an absolute joker. I think he's hit and miss, to be honest. He's noted that we are keeping tabs on Sam Tickle at Wigan, who we're a fan of at the channel. I haven't seen loads of, and I don't think many people will have seen loads of, but as we've become interested in him, I'll start watching him a little bit more. I know he's a good goalkeeper, because those bits I have seen of him are really impressive. But that's in case we get a permanent offer for Michael Cooper, which I'm not expecting. Excuse me. I'm certainly not expecting in January anyway. Excuse me. The name that keeps coming up that I think would be ideal if we need short-term cover at number 1 is Anthony Patterson at Sunderland, who for such a long time was Sunderland's number 1 at this level and was really good. Was considered for ages by Liverpool to be their number 2, their target for a number 2 goalkeeper. And he's currently Sunderland's number 2 because they've obviously brought somebody new in. But I would really like Anthony Patterson from Sunderland on loan if that's a deal we can do. Joe says, I have to give special mention to City as well. Gone from being sideways City to 2025 Dean Hammond and 2025 Dean Hammond to a real force, driving forward with his head up and becoming a key player. Credit to him and CW. Well said, mate. Well said. Martin says, evening, Jim. Said to my grandson on the way home, that game was better than any game last season. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Hard to argue with that point, Martin. Hard to argue with that. It's a great team effort at the moment, says Paul. Everyone is pulling in the right direction. Mike says Norwich will be a tougher game than Stoke. They'll sit 11 men behind the ball, and we seem to struggle to unlock teams like that historically. We do, but Portsmouth did the same. Wednesday tried to do the same. And I just think we'll be too strong for them, Mike. I think if we get an early goal, which we have been doing recently, and we put it on them 2 strong early doors and we manage to get an early goal, they'll have to come out. And when they come out, that's when we can hopefully kill them off. Luke says, one of the biggest differences for me since the international break is how we defend and attack from corners. McGuinness could have had a hat-trick first half. Yeah, that's fair. Credit to whoever is doing the set pieces for United, because we are significantly improved in that department. I know historically it's been Alan Nil. It may be Alan Nil again. It may be Alan Nil. So people that are saying Alan Nil needs to go, or certainly people that were talking about that when we're having a dip in form or weren't improving, we don't know what everybody's role is behind the scenes. So it's unfair, I think, to pick out individuals and say they need this, because we're doing it off assumptions. We don't know who the set piece coach is, or a lot of us don't. Whoever's been working on these set pieces, I agree with Luke. Big improvements have been made there, and it's working for us. James says, hi Jimmy, great to meet you and your Dave. Andy last night. You and your Dave? Andy? Oh, Dad. That'll be. Because I've got a brother called Dave. And he went out with us last night. So when you say your Dave, I'm thinking, what? You and your dad, Andy, last night. Great night in the hotel. Good to feel part of the crew after such a brilliant win over Stoke. What a night. What a player. Pecky is up the Blades, up the Ramble. Top man, James. Thank you for joining us, pal. Great to meet you too. Sorry about my father. Our current form right now and performance is better than last season, says Jack. Best form of defence is attack, peeps, says Bry. Jim, what do you think to the pedestrianisation of Norwich City Centre? I think it gives people better access to Dixon's. But I think it could be a problem for people in wheelchairs. Or however that sentence went, Matt. There you go. Alan Partridge. Joe says, must be acknowledged as well, Jim. It genuinely would have been a night to win. Right to win that game by 6 or 7 note yesterday were absolutely electric. Again, playing against 12 men with them having the ref playing for them. I didn't think much to the ref. I don't like having a pop at the ref. And again, when we won 4-0, I don't really like having a pop at Oak because I want to enjoy it. But the thing I thought about the referee yesterday was that he was trying to let a lot go, which I don't mind. And I would prefer to see. But then he were inconsistent with it and we were getting pulled for a couple of bits. And he wasn't giving us blatant fouls. Tyrese Campbell went through, got wrong other side at man, and yet he got the defender got the ball, which Ty's got to look at himself for. But he went through the man. Anywhere else on the pitch, that's a free kick. Anyway, Alessandro says they've somewhat looked better the last few games, Norwich, but still fancy getting a result. 2-0 Blades, up the Ramble. Free Shot says, I saw the Blades Ramble logo when Bamford scored, up the Blades. Get in there, boy. There's a Stoke fan on YouTube says yesterday was their worst performance all season. I think that is not giving Sheffield United enough credit, to be honest. It may be the case, but I think we were just as good as they were poor, put it that way. Can't see Mark McGuinness being fit for Tuesday, says Lee. After he stayed down for a couple of minutes injured, he was really struggling to turn off his left ankle. I said to my mates he won't be on after half time, and he wasn't. Bryce thought you meant Man Mountain when you said won't be fit to play. Maury says, all right, Jimmy Pal. Wow, last few games, absolutely phenomenal. Cast your mind back to the Derby County game. I would not have thought we'd get these results and controversial opinion, but get Sidney Peck on penalties. He is on penalties, pal, but it's not a controversial opinion for me. Fun fact, Michael Cooper is joint top with 7 clean sheets. There you go. And Luke think that's a mad stat. John says, last 5 games, we are top of the league in the form table. Love that. Don't surprise me. Nobody will want to play us. Chris says, great game yesterday, Jimmy. Watching the after party, I should have popped in. ATB, it was great. Loved the joke from him as well. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. He's trying to get me cancelled, I think. I don't know what it is. I don't know why he does it to me. But thank you, Chris. Let's win 5 in a row and 4-0 again, Jimmy, mate. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, says Paul. Blades on 22 points, Jim, not 19. What? Don't think we are. Are we? You might be right. It might be position in league, I was thinking. Oh, you're right. Of course you're right. Shields. Sorry. Anyway, I'd think I was pretending to be professional. But thank you, Sheila. Yeah, absolutely bang on. These wins and goals haven't half helped our goal difference. Yes, that's right. Maury reckons it'll be 3-0 Bamford, Gus and Peck again. 5-0 for me. Says Stephen, 6 the week after. Wow. Agree with the team, Jimmy. Would like to see more of Bindon pre-January to see if he's an option before the window. We definitely need a second keeper as Coops was lost for 3 corners in the first half. Up the award-winning Ramble. Thank you, mate. Chris says, come on, Bladesman. Boys are flying finally. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. There we go. Paul says, you put up that we have 19 points. We have 22. No, you're right, Paul. You're right. I was wrong. Apologies. I had a late night last night. And then I was dragged to... Well, I went out for breakfast this morning with the family. The extended family. And then I went to a Christmas market with Mrs. Ramble and the kids. Then we went to the Big Shop. I just got back in and I started updating everything. Apologies. It's a typo. My fault. I can't keep up. I need a PA. Should be an easy win on paper, says David Vinter. Pity we don't play on paper. Still expect another 3 points if we're anywhere near our best. Up the Blades, up all the Rambles. Top man. Paul says, I predict 4-0 Gustavo Wildy goal. Ty scores. Tommy scores. Inform Paddy scores. And Sam McCallum scores against Norwich's ex-club. We're back, Jimmy, mate. Up the Ramble, up the Blades. Top man. Pete says, I'd keep him. Tyler Binden reminds me of a Lee Bromby type of player. Nice reference. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Hot Wardo says, personally, I don't think Cannon should be above Ings in the pecking order. I'd like to see Bamford and Ings on Tuesday night. He's improved a lot, but a deflection and a tap aren't enough. A tap in aren't enough for me. That's fair. You have the same or a similar opinion to somebody very close to me on that one. If you saw the part of the Christmas do last night on Behind the Ramble, you'll know what I'm talking about. Fallon Cowler took some right stick last night on one Leeds. I'm sure he did. Chicago City Streets. So I'm in a group, to be honest, on that, Bright. I'm in a group chat with them too. And all they were doing yesterday, while we were celebrating a 4-0 against Stoke, was going back and forth with voice notes, insulting each other about how both clubs are tin pot and Connor never goes to games and Cal's an idiot and all these. It were like children, absolute children. I don't, I felt like a proper adult. I don't often feel like an adult, but I did then, banging their heads together. Kids. Is the playoffs attainable, says Chicago City Streets. Need to average over 2 points a game to get to 80 points. I don't think it'll be that high this year. But yes, absolutely, playoffs is attainable. Absolutely it is. Kelly says, hi Jimmy, hope you're well. Great win yesterday, great performance. Well pleased, we're on fire. If you keep playing like this, I think playoffs are on the cards. Up the blades, up the ramble, up behind the ramble. Like and subscribe. Paul says, since Pat Bamford arrived, we've looked class. Do. Blunt Yorkshireman says, my favourite game of the season so far. Not been that relaxed at 70 minutes since about 2017. United looking at the Wigan keeper, Sam Tickle. Jimmy, yeah, I know we spoke about that, didn't we, pal? I see it on the cop, and yeah, they were singing Wilder is... Oh, I thought they were singing Bamford is one of them, Matt. I thought that's what they were singing. God bless ATB. Channel MVP. Say magnifique ATB. Yeah, he'll love that. He'll love that, Mark. And he was loving it last night, weren't he, when you were singing it to him? I wonder what Bamford makes of that. Yeah. Luke says, bit of a long shot, but would love to get Romain Mundle on loan from Sunderland. Don't think he's getting many minutes. He's been injured, Luke, I think, and he's just coming back into the reckoning. Whether he's got... he can get back in now, I'm not sure. Because I think he's been fit for a couple of weeks. But yeah, another one is Tom Watson, who's gone to Brighton from Sunderland, who scored the winner against us in the playoff final, or scored against, yeah. But I think he's getting some minutes now at Brighton, so it's hard getting those middling players that are good enough to really impact our first team that aren't being used or aren't being sought after by other clubs. But we have now got to be a really appealing club to join for me. Has Matty Zatt been playing for the under-21s, Jim? I haven't seen his name recently, Bri. I haven't, I have to say. He's got to go out on loan in January, hasn't he? Surely. Right wing cover for Brooks, maybe right back cover, says Matt. Natalie says, Ogbenny doesn't fill me with any confidence at all, unlike the hype of Brooks. I'd personally send Bindon back and sign Suter, no? Look, if that's the option, if it's we'll sign Harry Suter if we send Bindon back, then yeah, I'm taking the risk on an 80% Harry Suter. I absolutely am. But I don't know whether the Suter deal is a high-risk deal because it'll be a lot of money, Nat. It'll be a lot of money, and we don't know how fit he is or what type of player he's going to be when he returns from injury, because unfortunately we've seen it before. I know a lot of blades who take the risk on Harry Suter, and I might be one of them. But I think I also, by the same note, I think it's good to see a young loan player who hasn't had much chance get a chance, just by chance, because he wasn't going to be picked, was he? But just by chance, he gets in and he performs really well. I know he's not our player, but he's a loan player that we brought in to impact the first team, and he certainly did that yesterday. But everybody, again, I'm not against those who are saying send him back. It's just I've got a different opinion, that's all. Steve says, I'd rather have someone else. Hamza was meh. I thought he did really well. I thought, surprisingly, he did better at right back than he did in centre midfield. And I thought he'd be a really good centre midfielder for us. But I thought he played well for us, Hamza. I personally wouldn't go for Hamza either, lads, says Bright. Interesting. Brand says, I'd absolutely keep him. We've already paid a loan fee for him, and we're freeing up spots by sending back Barry, Godfrey, and Ogbenny. We'll be daft to send a player back that's playing well. I'm not sure we can send Ogbenny back. Action Location says, Jimmy Sariki managed to keep the ball in, then delivered a beautiful cross. Now the positioning of Bamford is quick glance to the keeper and perfectly slotted into the corner. Absolutely quality. He's a Rambler. Yes, he is a Rambler, pal. He is. Brand says, that's some punishment, that, Bri. Ipswich knew exactly what they were doing with the Ogbenny deal. We have 300 plus viewers on YouTube, people. Can you all hit the like button and help the channel grow? Thank you, Bri. Thank you, mate. Bless you, Jimmy, says Kel. I think that was for me sneeze. Thank you, Kel. Would you take Angus Gunn on loan for cover? He wants to leave Forest in Jan. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Why did he sign for Forest? He knew he weren't going to play. What's that all about? Absolutely balmy. Trousers well and truly round the ankles, Brant. Yeah, absolutely. Kel says, Wilder has turned this team around, up the blades, up the ramble, up behind the ramble. Like and subscribe. Let's get this channel to 11k. Thank you. Do we not think, says Nat, if we get cover competition for Cooper, it gives the green light to come in and bid for Cooper in the summer, then he potentially goes. You can't win, really, and I don't mean with your comment, Nat, but you can't win in the situation, because if he's unfit and playing through injury and he needs, say, for example, 6 weeks off to get injured, what do we do? What do we do? Because if you sign somebody permanent like a Sam Tickle, then I think that's a huge green light for somebody to come in. But if you sign somebody like Anthony Patterson, who's good enough to step in and be a very competent keeper at the level, and that's just one example, but I'm sure there's others, then he plays for the 6 weeks that Cooper's out. It means you don't have to rush Cooper back from the injury. It also means that once Cooper's fit, you can bomb out the lone player. And it's, Cooper's our player. We want him to be the number one. And who's to say we won't be in the playoff mix, Nat? So in terms of people coming in for Cooper, if there's a chance we're a Premier League side next season, which is still very, very far away, but possible, then that's what we've got to think into. And if we end up losing Cooper, that's one thing we'll have to consider in summer. If we don't get promoted, we will lose good players. But looking at players like Sam Tickle to come in as well, I see as a positive step from what I've seen of him. So yeah, that will happen anyway. There'll be interest in Cooper, certainly if we don't go up, either way. Matt says some of them people came from Stoke, says Matt. Ben says, hi Jimmy, lads are playing with belief and confidence now. Hopefully we can pick up some more wins, climb the table, and then back CW in January. Funds for a genuine playoff push. Up the blades, up the ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, my mate. We're getting there now with comments, so we'll be wrapping up soon. Thank you to everybody that's joining in. 1961 Blade says, so excited about United at the moment. If we make it to the playoffs for the first time in ages, I fancy us to break our hoodoo, up the mighty blades and up the ramble. I can't even think about it. 1961 Blade. I can't even think about it, pal. What do you think of Brooks? I'm not a big fan, but I thought he played good yesterday. I think I'm conscious that I'm too harsh on him. He doesn't usually impress me. Again, we're on a positive turn here, so I'm not going to be slating anybody. He played really well yesterday. Never mind he played good. I thought he played really well yesterday. I think he's playing really well with Sariki and Peck. I think he keeps either Cal or Gus out of the team on Tuesday on merit. So he won the penalty as well, which can't be understated. Yeah, he deserves his spot in the team. 3 points a game gets us to 103, says Sheila. That'll do. That'll do. Bryce says, my daft mate who supports Leeds reckons they'd want do back in January. Daniel Farker, the German sausage, says, hello, Leeds fan here. Is Bamford doing good? So he scored the other day. He's doing really well, mate. Really, really well. He's made a huge difference to us. Steve says, only fair to give credit to our feathered friends for setting us off on this winning run by capitulating 0-3 at the Rust Bucket. Yeah, absolutely fair play to those piggies. I'm going 4-0 again, Jimmy. Get our goal difference to 0. CW has got them playing as a team at last. Up the mighty blades. Up all the rambles. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Doug, my mate. Kel says, Jimmy, are you looking forward to Christmas? Up the blades, up the ramble, up behind the ramble, like and subscribe. Yes, a lot of work to do before then, though, Kel. A lot of positive things to focus on, but yes, I love Christmas. And yeah, I'm a huge Christmas buff. Not quite as much as I used to be, but when you've got young kids, it's just magical, isn't it? So, any thoughts on where Chong might fit from the bench? I think, John, ultimately from the bench. Blades 5, Norwich 0, says Paul. And Terence says, Patterson from Sunderland on loan would be my call if we're looking for a keeper. Yeah, mine too, pal. Mine too. So, there we are. That is your extended countdown to kick off, because we have obviously included a lot of the post-match from a brilliant win over Stoke. We're playing so well at the moment. Please keep it Ramble, because we've got so much coming up on the channel. As I say, we've got Mark Meldrew giving his ratings from the Stoke game, which will probably, hopefully be the first thing out on the channel that you'll see. But also, we're back tomorrow with Hot Off the Presser, whether that's a morning or an afternoon press conference. You'll have to get your notifications on. We'll be back as well with 3 Mardy Blades. At some stage, there'll be a show with me and Callum Fowler on this week. I'm hoping for Monday, but he's editing it because that's the deal. He's editing it because I'm going to his place to sort it, so it depends how long he takes to edit it. Then on Tuesday, it's the big game itself. We will try our best to get a watch-along going, but it won't be me because I'm at the game. We'll do a 90 after 90 after that, and then we're on quick turnaround again for West Brom. There's other things going off on Ramble FC as well. If you're not already subscribed over there, please do check us out. And also on Behind the Ramble, where you can catch up with all our shenanigans from the Christmas do yesterday. I might upload a few other bits like Jordan, Mark Meldrew doing the full Macarena and stuff like that. So keep it Ramble, keep it Blades. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. Up the playoff chasing Blades.
Shout out